What is going on, everyone? My name is Boyd, and I'm back with some more Age of Titans action. Spawning in the south of the map, the bottom of the map, in the blue color, playing Odin is Army Core. His opponent today, in the red color, playing Zeus, is MG's Eero. Now, this is part of a best of 3 or 5 series, I believe. I cannot exactly say which one it was. I'm not going to be casting all of them. This game was played back in, I think, 2012, actually. I could be very wrong, but I think it was midway through 2012. And these players, they're very, very good. Army Core was at the top. I don't know if he's any better now or any worse, but he was still at the top of the competition. He was playing Uranus on a really strong level, and he just wanted to show people that, hey, I can play Odin, I can play all the weak gods too, and he does it. So I'm really excited about this match because Army Core, you don't see him playing much not Uranus at the top level, and when he does, it's always really special because you can see different styles and you can see him thinking. He's a really intelligent player. MG Eero, on the other hand, I don't have much about him in terms of his background or what he's done, but I know he's a top tier player. He's at least 1900, possibly 2000. Army Core's 2.1k with his Uranus. Many people downgrade his random god to 1900. So this matchup is a very, very even in terms of these guys' skills levels. I'm not sure about I'm not sure how good Eero is with Zeus, but this is a matchup which heavily favors Zeus. However, the map being Marsh does even the playing fields quite a lot. Because you have all of this hunt, it means you're going to be able to produce at a level which is going to keep you in the game and give you that opportunity to take advantage of Zeus's weak spots, and that's something that I really highly expect Army Core to do. And that's rushing really, really quickly and forest firing him to delay any early push that Zeus does. That's fighting at full population. As Norse full population is stronger than Greek full population in the classical age. That is to say, if you have 115 pop and a Zeus player has 115 pop and you both have equivalent upgrades, I'm talking medium raiders, I'm talking versus medium raiders and medium Thrown Axeman versus medium hoplite, medium Toxote, then the Odin player should win that fight. Now, if you actually put in Minotaur into the equation, then slightly favors Zeus instead if you don't have Hursa and you don't micro. Also comes a lot down to your army positioning. Obviously, the person with the better army positioning will take the win, but when it comes down to it, if you don't position your army with Norse, you're doing it wrong. If you don't know how to position, you need to work it out. There's a lot to do with surrounding your opponent's army, attacking from every angle so your units do the most damage on a surface, as opposed to crashing your army in to each other, which is what the Greeks really want to do. It's really interesting how Ensemble Studios managed to capture this, what's the word, it's guerrilla warfare sort of style of race with Norse versus the really steadfast, this is how you're supposed to fight with the hoplites in the front, Toxotes in the back sort of Greek army. And I think that they did an incredible job with that. And the fact that people don't appreciate or don't understand, I don't know how many people understand how good it is to surround units with Norse and how good it is for a Greek player to be able to crash straight into units. Egyptian is a mixture of both, really, but I'm not really talking about them in this circumstance. I'm talking about these two races, which are constructed completely beautifully in terms of their army mechanics. Army Core's I can't talk. Army Core has grabbed his temple and he's going up through Freya. He's going to be advancing incredibly quickly at the 430, 440 mark. He'll be hitting the classical age. MG Eero, on the other hand, is going through Athena. He's got probably 445 or 5 minutes in. It looks like, no, probably 445. I think he'll be hitting that classical age. He's got one villager on the favor, which is going to allow him to produce some Minotaur when he does want to. It's going to be very nice for him. He's also got the 4 villages on wood. He's got hand axe coming out. He's actually separated them onto 2 wood camps. That's incredibly smart. It means if you get forest fires, you're not going to get delayed in wood. All you have to do is shove your villages over to the other side. So you're going to lose out on maybe 15 seconds, so 10 wood each, or 15 wood if you have a hand axe each, of gather time. So if the forest fire comes on this side, it's going to lose out on 30 wood for 15 seconds. If it comes on this side, it's going to lose out on a bit more. But regardless, it's good. He's got through Athena. Actually, he's been a little bit quicker than Army Corps. No, it's about the same time. About the same time. We do see the military academy going up, 2 of them, and the archery range. I really don't like it when people put more than one villager on one building. I mean, if he wants this to be out really quickly, sure, do it. But in terms of it needing to be up that fast, it's not that important because these 2 buildings are going to be up quite behind it. What he could have done is build a second archery range with that 4th villager. Then all of these 4 buildings would come up at the same time, and that all be very efficient. And you'd still be gathering as much food that he has, and everything will be really good. You can see he's sitting at 300 wood now. Could definitely afford the double archery range if he so chose. We do see Army Corps gathering these crowned crane at the front of his base. He doesn't want to move over to these water buffalo just yet because he wants to save that for when he gets pushed off. We do see the Minotaur coming in now. Bolt was used on a Valkyrie, preventing Army Corps' raid there. Army Corps' Hersir he's already got 3, so he knew that the Minotaur were coming. So if this if this Minotaur dies, then that's not a good thing for MG's era because it's so strong, it's so useful in the fights. Do see a couple of hoplite coming into the fray now. Actually got 3 hoplite into the fray. They're going to be able to push those Hersir back. We're going to need a bunch more units to come out very, very quickly. I actually feel like this might be lagging slightly. 1, 2, no, it seems to be okay. I lied. Don't worry, kids. Alright, so it looks like MG Hero wants to bash on the front door of Army Corps. This front gold mine is extremely potent in terms of Army Corps' ability to lose the game. There are 2 back gold mines, however, so it's not be-all and end-all to grab this. And we do see that this sort of surround is happening at the moment, which he's just really wanting to trap Hero's army in here. He's got the forest fire going down, which is going to deal a little bit of damage. It doesn't really do all too much, but it's definitely good. Now we just need to see some micro coming on here. This is really delay tactics. He's not lost any units yet, Army Corps, and MG Era has, so he's doing very well with his unit control. And MG Era just needs to regroup, get his army back into a fashion that is well off, and then make the push with restoration. If he can do that, then it'll be really, really strong, and it's going to be very difficult for Army Corps to hold on. We do see another house coming up around this tower. He really wants to keep this tower alive. It's a bit of a bait tool now, sitting at the 26 HP, and that Minotaur there is getting ridiculously low, but every single one of those headbutts he uses, special attacks, without dying, at that low HP, it's a very good thing for Hero. It means he's getting very good unit efficiency. The fact he's tanked so much damage is always a good thing, as long as he's still fighting. And at a point that he gets the low HP, if he can't tank anymore, and he continues to get the headbutts off, it might be, you can say that it might be wasting population, but it's only wasting population if he doesn't get the attacks off. So, yeah, that's that. And we do see that the watchtowers have gone up, and Army Corps going through a little bit of a raid now. Hero does scout that with his Catastropus, and he takes this as an opportunity to move in here and trying to take out this tower. We do see that the watchtower is able to pick off these hoplite incredibly quickly. If he micros them correctly, you can see that the hoplite over here is taking some damage, so he will fall. But this wall will fall as well, and MG Hero just wants to move in him. We do see a really nice raid onto those villages, but there's a couple of hoplite already over here to deal with this. One villager down for 1 raiding cavalry is a reasonable trade, and again he's going to lose another villager and another raiding cavalry. So 2 raiding cavalries for 2 villages there, and the delayed hunt time for Hero is going to be very, very nice. And now it looks like Hero is going to be pushed back here. Army Corps is trying to surround with his raiding cavalry. He doesn't really have that many though, and you can see that headbutt again coming into effectiveness, managing to pick off another raiding cavalry, and it looks like Army Corps raiders are going to come in again and try and path block these dudes just to get a little bit more damage off for Army Corps. So Army Corps at the moment is sitting at 75 pop to Hero's 68 pop. So at this point, Army Corps can really fight, especially because that Minotaur's been taken off. But restoration is still available for Hero, so if Army Corps gets into a bad position, it really needs to be careful about that, because restoration can turn pretty much any fight at this stage into the heavy favor of the Zeus player, and that's going to be a rough spot for you to be in if you are Army Corps Odin with that exposed gold mine. Again, we see him rebuilding this watchtower that was picked off and rebuilding the wall, and this is going to prevent any push that comes in with the restoration. Army Corps is just foreseeing that this is going to happen, and MG Era is going to say, okay, I'll have to do it anyways because otherwise I'm going to fall behind. And we do see the raids coming in again. He's moving past the granary. He really needs to see if he can find a sweet spot to hit here. Or here are his sweet spots, and he's going to be moving around. He does have his Raven here, or actually this location is quite nice as well. It's a nice low villager there. Heroes trying to move those villagers away. If we go to Army Corps' perspective and we use the Fog of War, he actually has no idea that there's anything over there. And yet he moves straight past these villagers, and he's going to be really happy to see those there. He might be able to pick off one or two. Actually, he might be able to pick off all three with that really nice interception of the villagers. The pathing, it was really nice. The pathing box was really nice there. So he's actually going to manage to pick off two villagers with that raid for free. And Hero takes this as a time to start going. When there's 8 raiding cavalry over here, that's a really difficult spot for you to be in if you start getting hit in the middle of your base. But with this wall and this watchtower as well, it's going to be very difficult for Army Corps to really lose this fight, especially with all these throwing axemen which can pick off the hoplite. And Army Corps is still making a bit of a mess in Hero's base with no gold mines mining at the moment. Hero must be struggling for the gold. Yeah, he's at 17 at the moment. And again, Hero trying to bash his face into this wall, get into the base of Army Corps and trying to take out his gold mine. But that gold mine's almost extinguished, so it really doesn't matter. So this restoration that's definitely incoming, because you can see he's still fighting under this tower. A really nice mark with those heroes onto that Valkyrie, but Army Corps trying to retreat it back, and there's the restoration right here. Even though there is this watchtower coming on here with all of these units back to full HP, this watchtower will fall immediately. But seeing that gold mine's extinguished, Hero just has to retreat now. There's no point in being here. He's going to lose all of these units, and these dwarfs are starting to fight as well. So this is a terrible fight for Hero to be doing. He probably should have clicked on the gold mine before continuing to move in there. Losing all those units is definitely not a good thing. It's going to allow Army Corps a commanding grasp of this game. It's going to be able to grab his second town center, and he's going to be able to start booming and getting those villages out at a much faster pace than Hero's got. And he's going to have like so many units left. As you can see that it's 85 pop to Army Corps' 95 pop, so there's 10 pop in favor of Army Corps. And this fight's still going on. It's actually you can see that the surround happens here. You can see that these raiders are on the back line of Army Corps, and these throwing axemen on the front line. We do see a couple of the hoplite are trying to move around to the back to deal with these raiders, but they're really not going to be doing all too much. All of these throwing axemen are going to be picked off. The Odysseus is going to get picked off. The hoplite are going to be picked off. The Jason is going to get picked off. Hero has to retreat here, but it's too little too late really. He lost his entire army there, and now Hero is sitting at 67 population to Army Corps' 93. You can see that Army Corps really didn't lose out on that fight because he's surrounded, and the hoplite Toxito comp with the Minotaur just didn't do too well. We can see a nice choke point here, and this is how you need to fight. If you fight in this choke point, then you're going to be able to win. You're not going to lose too much, and with these Minotaur as well to tank the heavy fire from these hoplites and such. If Hero can focus fire those Herso with his Toxitos, get rid of that Valkyrie on his back line, and he'll definitely be able to hold on here. You can see those hoplite trying to pick off that Minotaur. It takes a long time, and basically with the defender's advantage here, even though Hero had such a small army compared to what Army Corps has, we see that Army Corps is now sitting at 73 pop to the 54 pop. So really, while Hero went down 10 pops, so did Army Corps. Actually, Army Corps went down 20 pop, so it's actually a really good thing for Hero. Hero is still trying to pick off a couple more of these Toxitos with this Minotaur. And you can see he just keeps on tanking that damage without like any regard for human life. He just doesn't care. He just goes in and I'm a bull and I'm just going to headbutt you and you're going to die. And basically, while Army Corps got map control now, Hero managed to prevent his death there, which is a really nice. He managed to fight in this really sick choke point, and Army Corps decided to fight that as well instead of trying to do something different. At this point, it looks like Army Corps is going to be trying to push in again, but with the units getting garrisoned into Hero's buildings, you never know how many are going to be in there, so you have to be worried that 5 are going to pop out from every single building at one time. We do see another raid coming in here with the Valkyrie and the raiding cavalry. Going to see if Army Corps can spot that hunt patch over on the side of the map. It looks like they're going straight to it, actually. He's actually going to miss that, unfortunately. No, there we go. He sees it, and he should move over there and try and pick that off. But Iroha's already reacted with his army, and there's not going to be enough units here to deal with that, so he's going to have to retreat out. Iroha actually with a nice little block there, but probably not going to pick off any units. Army Corps is just going to be able to run out here, and it's going to be fine. Taking Fog of War back off, we're going to see Army Corps trying to move in here because he realizes Iroha's army is very weak at the moment. He doesn't have many units. If I can push in here, perhaps take this town center. No, doesn't want any of that town center. Thinks it's too risky. He's going to move back, grab his back town center, and go from there. You do see that Army Corps has 700 wood at the moment, or did have 700 wood, so it's not a bad time to start farming. When you start gathering from your herdables, that means it is time to start farming. You don't want to finish your herdables and then start farming, because then you have a dry spot of food. Unless you have like excess food in your bank, you never want to have a dry spot of income. Even though it's and there we go, there's the farm starting to come down already, which is really nice. Again, if you put one villager on each of these farms, it's really efficient. We do see this town center going up. Still need to build this last house to get that 115 population. Army Corps not getting to that 115 pop once this game, which is really interesting considering how strong the 115 pop Norse classical army is. But because Iroha was so aggressive, he never really had to. So that house going up, town center going up, it's going to have that 130 population max. And he's probably going to move into this location and try and prevent the town center going up. And again, the raids right here, incredible, picking off some villages here, probably one or two. There's a really low villager there. Unfortunately for Army Corps, he only managed to get that one because he didn't pick off those low HP villagers. He's just going to try and distract the army of Iroha at the moment. If he can prevent, actually, the army's not going to be chasing those raiders, and Iroha's going to be attempting to control this location here. Remember, Iroha's probably sitting at 115 pop. Yep, there we go, 115. So while it's an advantage for Army Corps to fight with the 130 pop, being in this choke point is going to be very difficult, especially with 4 Minotaur. Now, remember what I said at the start of the video about Minotaur giving you the edge in the Zeus versus Norse fight. If the Norse player has no Hursa, it's going to be a huge edge. And I don't think that Army Corps is going to be able to move in here and win this fight. Though I don't think that town center is going to go up either. If this fight does happen, then that's going to be a big thing, and I don't think that Iroha is going to be able to cope. I don't know if grabbing that town center right now was the right choice, especially when he's got 2 Minotaur at his back. That's not a good place for them to be. They really need to be here for this fight. If he was grabbing this town center, just forget about everything else. Grabbing a town center is your purpose if you're doing it. And there we go. The Minotaur are coming back in, but it's going to be too little too late. Is Army Corps going to get position? He's actually going to attempt to pick off these villages first. And that's a really smart choice. A lot of those were really low HP, and he does manage to pick off all but 1, or actually there's 2 there. Again, there's a really low HP villager there. And this fight with those Minotaur going onto the throwing axemen, we do see that Army Corps notes this, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to leave now. I picked off 3 villagers and a bunch of your units. I can just retreat now and sort of fight you while you're not shooting at me. And see, he does manage to pick off 1 Minotaur without taking any fire from those medium Toxotos, which is actually really big. I wouldn't mind seeing some Hursa coming out, though. Army Corps doesn't have the food, so he's not going to be able to do anything like that. We do see that Army Corps has got ploughed, has got husbandry, so his farm's going to be very efficient. Remember, whenever you start farming or gathering herdables, get your husbandry. It's really good. And Army Corps managing to pick off that last villager there, last 2 villagers, preventing that town center from going up at the moment. He is going through Skadi at the moment. Iroha not yet in the classical heroic age. Sorry, I'm really interested in whether Army Corps is going to go for that really heavy heroic push with the frost, or if he's going to save that frost for a little bit later and do something a little bit more sneaky with it. And we do see that the Ravens scouted out this town center. This town center is not going to go up by any stretch of the imagination. All those villages should die. Iroha doesn't have the mobility to cope with these raiders coming over here. Iroha should have seen that Raven there and then gone, okay, he can see me, time to leave. I think if Army Corps chucks a hill fort up here while this raid is going on, that'll be huge. Or at least grabs this town center. But all of these raiders are going to be in a bit of a hurting spot here if they don't get out. Managing to pick off 1 villager and it's going to run away. Remember that these medium Toxotos have their upgrade. They have a negative 10% damage rating versus raiding cavalry, which I'm not sure about. I don't think I've seen that on Nilla before. I think this is just a Titans thing. And again, this town center is so close to getting up, and Army Corps is just saying, no, not going to happen, not today, using my frost to prevent it. and he's got his market up. Looks like he's going to go through Balder. The standard sort of strategy for Norse is to go through Balder and do some sort of Ragnarok. There are no armory upgrades though. Actually, he does have pierce armor, so but he's still not really enough to warrant using this this fast sort of fast mythic time. It's actually going to be like the 19-minute mark or something that he hits the mythic age. I think the hill fort right here and some ballista coming into the fray will be really, really strong. And again, these raiders are moving in here, but there is a bull minotaur here who's going to be able to pick off one or two of these raiders. But it looks like Armikor just going to... I wanted to surround that, but chose not to do that while the hoplite are coming in here. And all of these units now are taking that damage. Armikor needs to get his raiders over here to prevent them from running away, and he could have probably caught those there if he had the timing correct, but he chose not to. And these units are actually going to get stuck here if he doesn't get them out. And he does manage to do so. Again, for the third time, Eero is trying to build this town center up. Luckily for Eero, Armikor is going to say, okay, time to get my third town center. So I'm going to let you get 2 town centers while I get my third one, but Eero's already in the process of getting his second, so going to be getting all 3 at the same time that Armikor gets all 3. But the big thing is that Armikor's had 2 for so long, and they've been on auto queue, getting the fortified town centers, continuously building villages, and he's going to have a massive Ragnarok. And the fact is that Eero's economy is probably not going to be able to cope with a Ragnarok. He needs to be in the Mythic Age incredibly quickly, get his Plenty Vault out, and then start building Hypaspist in order to deal with the Heroes of Ragnarok, because they are classified as infantry, Heroes of Ragnarok that is, so Hypaspists or Hypaspists are going to deal an incredible amount of damage to those Heroes of Ragnarok, and it's a very strong way to deal with it. That and purely building towers is also a worthwhile attempt to survive. But if your opponent is really smart, it looks like the hill fort going up in a very aggressive location here, if this does manage to get up for Armikor, then that's going to be ballista in the face of Eero. And Eero just retreats randomly there. He sees the fire giant and doesn't want a piece of that. You can see holy damage right there. I'm pretty sure that was the fire giant that did that damage. You can see all of those low HP, or at least damaged Toxotoad there. If you can use your special ability, I didn't realize how strong it was. Each doing 15 crush or 25 hack damage. That's massive. So bronze does get cast here by Eero. Eero does not want this hill fort to be here. He's trying to move in here, but fortunately for him, his units are just a little bit clumsy. They're stopping in the middle of nowhere. And Armikor is picking off the reinforcements here. He's probably going to lose all these raiders though. Unfortunately for him, no, Armikor just, Eero not having the best luck there. He's not paying attention to his army and pick off 1 or 2 of those raiders. And I don't think that Armikor really wanted them there. He's really trying to boom out the villages. Probably should be making them from that town center as well, but nonetheless, he's probably more focused on this army at the moment. Knocking over some trees there, you're going to get the efficiency there for when he wants to cut that forest. I don't think that's going to happen though. I really feel that once these ballista get out, it's time to Ragnarok. You have ballista and you have Heroes of Ragnarok. You can push in and you can just flood and you can win. And it looks like Eero doesn't have masons either, so these buildings will fall incredibly quickly. And you can see now, even with Eero's bronze at 30 seconds, Armikor says, time to fight. I'm going in, and I don't understand. He doesn't have armory upgrades. It's like the Magyar influence. Magyar influence is so huge. If you don't get armory upgrades, you're not gonna get those units to be stronger than your opponents. Like I think they're so underappreciated. They're really, really good. I think that perhaps if you buffed armory upgrades, that'd be interesting. I keep having random ideas while I'm casting. Like last episode, I wanted to implement a capture any type of building sort of thing. That would have been sick. But this one, I'm like, ooh, a buff to armory upgrades. Who would that benefit the most? Thor? Probably Thor. That's probably a good thing though. Like having Norse get a buff would be, or at least Thor to get a buff would be really nice. And Armikor again, just trying to fight throwing axemen with Toxotoads. It's a little bit interesting. Armikor's sitting at 135 population. He's still building these villages, and he's continuing to do so. I probably could get an Oxscout there to make that a little bit more efficient. Armikor probably needs a couple more barracks, so he's probably only still got his initial 3. He's only got 3 of them, and he's only got his 2 hill fort. So while he's building these throwing axemen, Ballista comp, which is reminiscent of that Toxito Petropoli comp, which is so strong, he probably needs to start chucking up towers if he wants to be really effective. Towers and fire giants, and we can probably see that it's auto-queued fire giants at the moment. So there we go. So this is like the hyper late game Norse, which it's not hyper late game yet because he's not going to be able to afford to keep building them if he does so lose them. But at this point, these are so strong. If you get like 3 fire giants out and 10 ballista, then your opponent's units will melt, and that fortified town center is not looking like it's going to stay there for much longer. And people say Norse's range siege is so weak. You see this, and this unit is dying. This town center is dying so fast, and once that dies, you can see them convert over to these Toxitos most probably, and they deal a ridiculous amount of damage, and it's AoE damage as well. Unfortunately for Armico, he's losing a bunch of those ballists, which isn't good considering he invested so much into them. Going to have to retreat those back, and looks like Eero is going to be in a position here to push in, but the Ragnarok is definitely an option for Army Corps. Though generally you want to only Ragnarok when you're at 160 population rather than the 130 population, because you're not going to have as much units to play with. And this location is very rough for Eero to be fighting in because of the 2 Hillfort. Hillfort dealing an amazing amount of damage to those Toxito at the moment, and he doesn't have any siege here to push, so fighting here is kind of pointless unless he just wants to lose some of those medium Toxitos, but really I don't think he wants to do that. There is a fortress here though for Eero, so being able to hunt to this location is going to be a little bit better, but you do see, look at this 17 damage from fortresses compared to the Hillfort's 11. Remember, Hillforts do cost a lot less than fortresses, but it's still a little bit crazy when you think about it. Like, that's 50 wood, 50 gold for 6 damage. 6 damage per second. Each arrow as well. And these units like shoot 5 or something arrows. Three projectiles. So that's crazy damage there. And so I think now that Armicor's hitting that 160 population, he's going to be Ragnaroking. And there we go. He's moving his villagers forward. Wants them to move in as fast as possible. He wants the element of surprise, really. And we do see that these Toxito are going to be caught out of position here. There's no way that they're going to survive here with all of these heroes of Ragnarok coming around to prevent them from dealing any damage. While they're Toxitos and they're in a tight ball, it's going to be very difficult for Army Corps to get a surround on them, like all of them. There's so many units here that it doesn't matter. Army Corps moving in here on this fortress again. Eero does not have masons. Masons meaning that their building is going to be much stronger. And this is a 350 population hero of Ragnarok. That's actually huge, and it's been building up since the moment when Army Corps grabbed that second town center. He managed to produce so many villages from it, and this just keeps on pushing in here. Eero's got a couple of these Hypaspists, but with there so many units here, it does not matter. These heroes of Ragnarok have 40 armor and 15 damage and 156 HP compared to the 123 HP of the heavy Hypaspists, who are going to be dealing like 12 damage or something, or to 15 damage, so they're basically dealing the same amount of damage to each other. And then we do see Eero going to the Mythic Age to Hephaestus. Probably would have been better for him to stay in the Heroic Age and spam like 10 or 5 towers at a location that he felt like he could defend at. But remember, there are these ballista here. Unfortunately, he lost a lot of them. And Army Corps is just going to keep on pushing in here. There is this Colossus, but that's going to die incredibly quickly to these heroes of Ragnarok. They do have a 300% bonus for their myth units. And that's a dead Colossus in a very short amount of time. You can do see that they deal a lot of damage to that Colossus, and he's going to fall. He's got no use though, apart from being a meat shield at the moment. And you can see that Army Corps notices that, and he's probably just sort of ignoring it. He's only put 2 heroes of Ragnaroks over there, and Army Corps moving in onto this location as well with those heavy throwing axemen, picking off all of the units of Eero. Eero sitting at 84 of 140 population. His hometown center about to fall down, even though it is getting repaired by all of his villagers. Slowly but surely, Army Corps taking this game, destroying Eero's base, giving no concern to the guard towers that are here, either grabbing that plenty vault, getting those resources so that he can build that town center right here, and he's going to keep on picking off gold miners, picking off villages, picking off buildings, picking off everything, forcing Eero into a spot where he cannot come back. And this is the way to do this Ragnarok. It's very, very effective. And that Bellerophon just been a bit of a pain there. Bellerophon's such a strong unit. Imagine to pick off that Ballista and still get out alive. You can see all of those throwing axemen trying to pick off that Bellerophon. They do no damage because she's got such high, I think, or he's got such high mobility, high speed. She's going to be able to dodge a bunch of things. And you can see that Jump Leap did like more than half the damage of that Hero of Ragnarok. It doesn't even have a bonus in that. And the leap attack actually has a 600% bonus versus myth units, which is so huge. So huge. And those villagers now are repairing that town center. Again, there's so many units on this that even though there's a bunch of villagers, they're not going to be able to do much. Unless you have a Pharaoh here, that's not gonna stay up. That's going down. And now Iro with 0 town centers, the Army Corps 3 town centers. Iro with 40 population to Army Corps 200 plus. I would say 181 at the moment, but that is all made up of army, mind you. And that will be Iro saying, GG Army Corps, you in this one. I am no match for you, when that's in reality. He put up a really, really good showing here. Odin versus Zeus, though, this craziness, and you can see whatever this is. It looks like Iro's trying to draw something, but I don't know what it is. I can't tell. I can't tell what it is. I don't know. Anyways, Odin versus Zeus is a very hard matchup, and Army Corps made it look... didn't make it look easy. He made it look winnable, which is one thing from another. It's very, very good. If you beat a Zeus player with Odin, it doesn't happen very often, and Army Corps played this really, really well. Obviously, both players made mistakes, but Army Corps capitalized and Iro didn't. My name is Boyd. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.